Hi, hello. Welcome, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Of course, there's Hickson Hotline, and Hickson has that hotline, and of course, you know Dallas Hickson, our good friends at Hickson Autoplex. All right, let's jump gears already, early. I got him on. Attorney General Jeff Landry joins us. Jeff, how you doing, bud?
Good morning, Moon.
Everything going good?
It's going wonderful.
Well, good. All right. Of course, anytime I see a piece that Greg Hillman does, I have to question. I got to question if they got it right at all, but I kind of got a kick out of it myself. Jeff Landry may run for governor, I've been knowing you. You've always wanted to run for governor one day. That's no secret. But, you said some things, made some comments. I do believe you beat Edwards, too. It's no doubt in my mind you would beat him. But, you jumped out and said some things like, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, you're saying what you're saying because you feel like somebody needs to jump up and say, look, I'm in if nobody else is running. Tell me what the deal is about you saying something, not the one where you're going to beat Edwards, because you would beat him.
Yeah, well, look, Moon, let's start from the beginning. First of all, I love Louisiana, like all of your listeners, right? And I always believe that the greatest natural resource we got in the state is the people. And as I go around the state, as I travel around the state, I can tell that there are people out there that are not happy with the direction of the state and the way that the state government is being run. And we got an election season coming. It's going to be upon us. We'll probably, qualification for that election next year is going to be in about 12 months. And on the Republican side, I think it's important that we have one candidate because we've seen the destruction of what happens when we don't. And we've lived through that misery over the last 3 years. And like I told Greg Gilbert, I said, look, Greg, it's not personal with the governor. It's the fact that, look, I disagree with him more than I agree with him. And I tell voters all the time when I'm on the campaign trail, look, I want you to vote for me, not because you agree with me 100% of the time, but you have to agree with me more than you disagree with me. And so if I'm disagreeing with someone more than I'm agreeing with them, there's a problem there. Mm-hmm. And I think that this state deserves better. It can do better. And it's time for the Republicans to go out there and find a candidate that's going to really get this economy back up and running, get people money back in their pocket rather than taking money out of their pocket for welfare programs, and grow our middle class. Mm-hmm. That's it. It's that easy.
Yeah. I know the reasons that you said, and I'll be honest with you, I'm getting a lot of that too. And they say we got to beat Edwards. We got to beat Edwards. I'm getting this everywhere. I'm in Shreveport, Monroe, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge. I'm in Lafayette. I'm getting this a lot. Alexandria yesterday. So who's running? So I think there's a call out there to with some people that they want to know who am I getting to vote for. Who are we getting behind? Yeah. And I think that is out there. I don't doubt that at all, that's out there, because I'm hearing it on a daily basis. Just tell me who's running so we can get behind, because let's just be blunt here. What happened with Vitter, especially Darden and Angel, we don't want that to happen again. That's the scary part. So here's my big question for you. Any way you run if Kennedy runs, or Kennedy runs if you run, is there any way you two are in the same election?
No, Moon. No,
I don't think so either, but I wanted to ask the question. Right. I think that's a fair question.
Because, look, for me, this is about leadership. Mm-hmm. Okay, and leadership is about doing the right thing for those that have chosen you to lead or that will follow you. And right now, the state of Louisiana needs someone to lead it. And I'm willing to say, look, let's go find that person, okay, and let's do it now. And if we can't find that person, well, I certainly will absolutely take a hard look at going ahead and doing that. And that's what I told Greg Gilbert. I said, I've reconsidered this because of the fact that we have to find one candidate to get behind. And everybody that's out there is just kind of like, it's like they want to dance with it, but nobody wants to commit to get on the floor. And that's what we need.
The reason why I brought that up about the last election, I think you agree with me, that is nerve-wracking with some people, thinking we would have a couple of three major candidates. It really is, with some people saying, man, we can't do that again. Because let's face it, the press will never admit that Bill Edwards never won the election. Yeah, he won officially. He backed into it. And knows good and well 150,000 people didn't even vote in that election that normally vote because they didn't want to vote for Vitter. He was so tainted by Dorn and Angel. We got another 100,000 people or so out there that are registered to vote that normally vote in those elections. Those are all conservative voters. They're not voting for a Democrat. They're coming back and vote. They just don't want to see what happened last time. And I think I'm saying that right now. And I kind of feel what you're saying. I think that's where you're coming from. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, it's absolutely correct. I mean, look, we don't have a true primary system here in this state, like states like South Carolina, which I go to all the time because it's so successful, right? I always mention South Carolina, a southern state, right, that has grown just, phenomenally and economically. But we don't have a primary system like they do. They have a way under which they can filter through their Republican candidates. We don't have that. Mm-hmm. And so what I'm telling you is because we don't have that, and because we see what happens when we don't have that type of system, it's incumbent upon people like myself to go out there and help to ensure that the voters don't have the type of anxiety that you're talking about, that we don't have this big mess out there, and we try to find a candidate we can all get behind.
Yeah, but one thing about it is I know that people are taking you seriously because it's kind of funny. Last week, Jim Beam, who's a deputy press secretary for Bill Edwards, as you know,
he's got many. He's got a lot of
well, you got press secretaries. I agree with that. He's just one of many. Last week, he took a shot at me and John Kennedy because he's a big Julie Stokes sycophant. This week, headlines. State AG has too much free time. And you can always tell who to vote for by the people they hate.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Let me tell you something. If Jim Beam thinks I have free time, he should come over here and walk in my shoes for a week. And it would give him enough to write about for the rest of the year. And that's it. The problem with Jim Beam is he has too much time on his hands, and he's not going out there and shopping at Walmart and going to the gas station and visiting with the people out there that all they're doing is try to provide for their families, getting ready to get their kids to school. And you know what they're doing? They're scratching their head saying, why is the state of Louisiana always last? Why is the rest of the country enjoying Trump economics and we're not?
We're not. But not, and I think you make a good point. I was it's funny you said that. I was about to say the same thing. Seems like Mr. Beam has too much free time on his hands. So what he does is he's going to start plucking conservatives in the state out like he always does. I don't think nobody reads the crap. I'm probably stupid for putting it on there, but I just thought it was interesting. Hey, Jeff, jump gears with you. I just wanted to know, you made comments. I never trust Greg Hilburn, but I do trust you, so I wanted to get the comments from you.
He did a great job.
I know, but I wanted to ask the question. Is there a scenario where candidates like you and Kennedy, the same thing? And I think you pretty much answered that. Quick, let me jump gears with you. Just 3 minutes left. Medicaid. Okay. I've seen Medicaid fraud. This thing is breaking us. It is breaking us. Yet the governor never moves to change anything in Medicaid. We have legislators that try to change things. We know there's fraud. We know there's abuse. And this governor expands, cost us. Nobody does anything about it. Nothing. So how do we fix this?
Well, look, Moon, first of all, you cannot fix the state of Louisiana unless you fix Medicaid. All right? That program is so inefficient. It's riddled with fraud, waste, and abuse. The governor, and you're right, they've done nothing to exemplify leadership in regards to creating efficiencies out there. What's amazing to me is that I go out there and I look in the healthcare market, and you can see companies. I can think of one in particular that is extremely efficient and works consistently to ensure that the services that they're providing are first class within budgetary constraints. And that's what our Medicaid system doesn't do. And I can tell you, for everyone listening out there that's sick and tired of driving up and down our bumpy roads or having to take another route because we got a bridge that's out, or, believes that we need to improve our education or that teachers need a raise, none of those things can happen. It is a complete fantasy if we believe we can tackle any of those issues without addressing the cost of Medicaid and the expansion, because it consumes 46% of our state budget is going to a welfare program. Think about that for a second. So all of the hardworking people out there, every time you get your paycheck and you looking at those taxes, or you going to the store and you buying something and you looking at the sales tax that the state said, 46% of the expenditures of our state are going to a system that's welfare. It's being given away. And look, I'm not saying that there aren't people out there that need that program. That's not I'm not talking about that. We can go ahead and we can provide services at a more efficient cost, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, look, a 10% savings in that program, and we could wipe out the tax increases that we put on the books over the last 3 years.
Yeah,
10%.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, it's a problem, but the problem is this governor has expanded, and we can't afford the expansion that really is taking place. We can't. Let's just be blunt about it.
He expands Medicaid, but he refuses to allow us to expand our Medicaid fraud unit, or he fights with us when we try to expand it. I mean, we're talking, less than pennies on the dollar when you compare it to the overall cost of Medicaid. And the Medicaid unit out there, the great men and women that work in that Medicaid fraud unit, who do a great job, can't expand. They can't do more because, again, the governor doesn't want to expand it. Now, why wouldn't you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to save the taxpayers' money? Why wouldn't you want to keep people from defrauding a system that's used to help those that need it the most?
You know, it's sad, Jeff. Medicaid has also caused the tax increases. I want you to read real quick because I know you have to go. $6 billion plus in raised taxes from the time the governor came in to the new tax for 7 more years. Over $6 billion in new taxes. They've not fixed one thing. Robert Scott of PAR, Robert Travis Scott, who's been on this program many times, and I consider Robert a friend. We don't agree on everything, but he is a friend. Said in 2 years, first year the new governor coming in, $1 billion in deficit. And it's all caused by us running stuff up. So this 7 year now, we don't have a problem for 7 years. I'll take that bet with anybody right now. We'll have budget problems before 7 years is up.
Oh, look, because again, if you don't control your expenditures, right, if you don't continue to look for efficiencies inside of your system, you always are going to need more.
Absolutely.
Always. You're absolutely right, Moon.
Yeah. All right, Jeff Landry, Attorney General, whatever you decide to do, good luck. I think it's an interesting topic. I think you made some people feel better about if Kennedy runs, if you run, y'all both won't be running. I think people fear that a little bit, although there's Congressman Abraham's out there and some other people. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but that's a great way to close. We're going to see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Moon.
All right. Jeff Landry, Attorney General Jim Beam just spit on him because Jim Beam is protecting the Julie Stokes and the Jay Dardens and the Bell Edwards and popping anybody that gets in the way. All right, we're going to take a break. More to come. Moon Griffon Show. It is Friday Eve. We'll be right back.